My name is Sam Weinstein. I'm from the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. This is an IJAN picket against the ban by the police of our regular picket in Swiss Cottage. It is also the day before International Women's Day, and men have come here in solidarity with the women, and particularly with the women who are being slaughtered in Gaza and all over Palestine.
Yes.
First, the police banned us from the house of Hotavelli, the ambassador who said that 600,000 deaths in Gaza was acceptable.
Shame.
Then they banned us from about 150 yards away in front of the library. And I should say, we were at the house for 20 weeks without any incident. Then they banned us at the library. They banned us even though we were being assaulted by Zionists.
Shame on the police.
And now they have banned us altogether from Swiss Cottage.
Shame on them.
We have been assaulted physically and verbally by the Zionists. But the police have taken action against us, not against them.
Shame on them.
But because tomorrow is International Women's Day, we are turning this protest over to women. Children and women have been the main targets of this genocide, but we also know that women have an independent case against the police in this country.
Yes.
It is the higher-ups in the police who have armed rapists and murderers in their own ranks. So our host tonight will be Crystal from Women of Color in the Global Women's Strike. But before I hand it to Crystal, I want to hand the mic to the senior member of IJAN, someone who is old enough to be my mother. In fact, she is my mother. Selma James.
I am old enough to be his mother.
Better, much better.
Thank you. I have this honored role of being the first speaker in a line of women who want to express their views about the world we're living in and the way it affects women. But first I must say that I'm a member of the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. And I am a founder member. There were 2 women that formed the organization, 2 women, 2 Jewish women in the US, and they asked if I would join, and others, of course, began to join. And at first, we were careful. We didn't say we were anti-Zionist, at least some did. I did always.
Yay.
But we soon saw that that's how people felt about it. They wanted to say, this is not what we consider to be Jewish. This is not what we consider to be humane. This is what we are opposed to. This is what we are against. This is what we consider to be our enemy.
Yes.
Especially those of us who are Jewish feel that we have much more in common with the Palestinians than we ever had with those trumpeting around and calling themselves Jewish, who are really just murderers.
Yes.
And we're really glad to know that we work closely with and feel entirely at one with the Palestinian struggle for their liberation and for ours. There is no liberation without everyone's liberation, and that's what we in the Anti-Zionist network of Jewish people, that's what we live by. We are particularly concerned at the way the Zionists go to kill mothers and their children. How dare they? Do they not know that it is a crime against humanity to treat anyone in that way? I don't treat animals in that way. I would not, but they don't understand what it's like to be human or humane. They are anti-life.
Yes.
They want to kill because they want power, and they'll do anything for it. And that's why we all must join against them and make sure they don't make any progress in their road to total just corrupt power over the human race. We are here to represent women who make all the children in the world and are glad for the contribution we make to humanity. And we fight as women for life, against death, against murder, against Zionism. So, happy International Women's Day. We are moving the movement forward for life, for children, for mothers, for the human race, for the whole planet. Thank you.
And I want to thank IJAN for making it possible for us to have our International Women's Day or Eve of International Women's Day event on the picket. It was a year ago on the 1st of March that we held the first of the International Women's Day events because we wanted to be there for the resistance that is happening with the women and the children, the mothers and the fathers in Palestine. We felt it was absolutely our duty to be there. And now we never expected to have to be here a year later. Okay, so we have still the fight to do because the resistance is still strong. And you have to say that the Palestinian people are the most extraordinary people on this planet to have resisted and to still be alive despite the bombs, the starvation, the destruction of their land, the destruction of their olive trees. Extraordinary. And we have no excuse not to be here and not to be part of every single demonstration that is called to support the Palestinian people. Now we have a fantastic lineup for you tonight of women, including those who are not actually with us, but have sent messages, and we want to be able to make sure that every woman's voice is heard. So I'm going to ask speakers to really keep themselves short to time, and that way we won't exclude anybody. We'd hate to have to do that. Okay, so our first speaker I'm going to call on is another stalwart from IJAN, another woman member who has been on virtually every single picket that we've had, every protest that we've had. Welcome, Carol.
Now, I'm exactly the same age as Sam, but unfortunately, Mum is no longer with us. And at her funeral, we said a beautiful, beautiful prayer. Who can measure the worth of a valiant woman? For her price is above rubies. And at this time, we have a lot of valiant women, both amongst the living and the dead. And perhaps the gems, amongst all gems, the best of the gems, the most valuable rubies are the Palestinian women. Especially amongst the Palestinian women, the women of Gaza. As Selma so rightly said, these people, these Zionists, worship death. And every Friday, Jews drink to life, l'chaim, to life. Zionists with blood on their hands drink to death. We can't allow this to happen. We can't be stopped, because whenever they ban us, we become stronger. And when they attack us, we become stronger. And when they hurt us, we women become more and more valiant. I am so proud I am a woman. On the day before Women's Day, I am so glad I am a member of IJAN. I am so proud that I am fighting alongside the Palestinians, because I know we shall win. 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 Thank you.
This is a polite request to the police. Please move the Zionists out of our space. Just move them. Can we just identify and move them, please? Zionism, no! Who's been regularly on the picket, the protest, and other protests. I have marched with Janet many a time. So welcome, Janet, to the picket.
Yeah. When Sarah asked me if I wanted to speak, she said, you come very regularly. Why is it you come every single week? And I thought about this, and I thought about the normal answers, and the normal answer is, well, obviously, because the genocide carries on week after week after week, and the terrible suffering, unfortunately, is carrying on. Even with this fake ceasefire, they're still dying in Gaza because they've stopped all the aid coming. And also in the West Bank, I think I read this morning 40,000 people have been displaced from the West Bank.
Yes, that's
So
right.
it goes on and on and on. Right. The other reason, obviously, is because I'm Jewish. And Jewish people who are not Zionists, and there are quite a lot of us, have to stand up and be counted. That's why I come. And the other reason is because I live in Camden. And I'm not sure if we're allowed to mention this famous resident of Camden that we want to get rid of. But that's why we go to Swiss Cottage, because we want to get rid of the Israeli ambassador who lives in my borough, and I don't want her there. Right. And then I thought again, but there's another reason why I come, and it's because of all the lovely people here, and it's like a family. And we had Selma, so we've got someone in their 90s. We've got somebody who comes with her son, who is, I think, about 12. We've got somebody who very often comes with her dog. Right. So this is not a group of terrorists. This is very, very clearly a group, the majority of whom are female, who come because they care about the suffering and they care about everything that's happening over there in Palestine. And the lines in places like the Jewish Chronicle who say that these people are terrorists and they're terrorist supporters, and the people that come, the Zionists that come and try and interfere with us, these are the people that are the terrorists, not us. And I want to end by describing something that happened 2 weeks ago, right, when we got banned. And first of all, the Zionists came in, right, and they came up to us, and it was scary, right? Yeah. And then they managed, the police moved them outside, but they were still on the edge, and they were shouting and swearing at us, right? And one of the people, she knows who she is, came up to me and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, I'm fine." I lied. I think she knew I lied. I was frightened. It was frightening. And then I thought about it when I went home, and I thought, that's the other reason why I'm here. Everybody looks out for each other, right? And I thought, and that's probably what it's like. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction, because over there in Palestine, that's what they're having to do. And you see all these women, and men too, and they're trying as hard as possible to look out after each other in impossible circumstances. Yeah. And that's what we're doing in a very, very tiny way. So I hope they're going to allow us to go back, and that we're going to fight to go back to our little family place. Thank you. Our next speaker, again, represents an organisation that's been coming to the protests since they began. And it's that wonderful group of women, refugees and asylum seekers, All African Women's Group!
All African Women's Group is a self-help group of asylum seekers and refugees from different continents and many countries. Many of us fled war, poverty, climate crisis, rape and other torture. Some come from countries which have suffered mass killings and genocide, like Congo, Rwanda, Sudan, Vietnam and Yemen. as mothers and carers, never forget the genocide today in Palestine. Our members have attended the IJAN Speakout for over a year now. We are horrified by the slaughter of thousands of innocent women and children. Palestinian children are as precious as ours.
Yes.
We know a lot about genocide. Our very existence as people of color is under threat by racist colonial settlers determined to either enslave us or wipe us out so they can profit from our work, steal and steal our lands. After the Atlantic slave trade officially ended, the violence and plunder continued through mass murder and genocide. In Kenya, colonial settlers and the military killed 80,000 civilians, and mostly women and children were killed. Many died of starvation. Over 20,000 Kenyan people were executed under the death penalty, more than at any time in Britain's history. Many were jailed in camps similar to Nazi concentration camps. Families were separated. Women were raped. There was horrific torture, violence for years. Britain covered up these crimes, and Kenya has never been fully compensated. Many sisters will tell you about Britain's other crimes in Biafra, Nigeria, and Congo. We never forget the plunder and mass murder in Congo, Darfur, Sudan, and in Rwanda, where the UK tried to send asylum seekers despite that terrible historical colonial rulers' divide and rule, setting us against each other to steal and corrupt our leaders and kill them. Free Palestine, free us!
Everybody. The more they try to silence us, the more they try to silence us, the more they try to silence us, the women united will never be defeated. The women united will never be defeated. No justice, no justice, no racist. One, two, three. One. We are the women. We won't be silent. Stop the violence now, 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 now. One. We are the women. Two. Won't be silent. Three. Stop the violence now, 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 now. Brilliant. Thank you. So I'd like to start with a poem, a short poem by Rupi Kaur called Legacy. I stand on the sacrifices of 1 million women before me, thinking, what can I do to make this mountain taller so the women after me can see further? That's Legacy by Rupi Kaur. Woo! So we're here, International Women's Day is upon us, which started 106 years ago, I believe. But sadly, the misogyny is still here, threats to our reproductive justice and rights, violence, sexual violence, the pay gap, gender inequality, it's all still here, so we need to keep fighting. First of all, I'd like to pay tribute to a wonderful woman, a sister and a comrade, who we lost this week on Tuesday, wonderful activist and advocate for social justice and human rights. Her name is Claudia Manchanda. Some of you may have heard of her. She had a long battle with cancer and finally passed on to the ancestors on Tuesday. So we are heartbroken about this. She's a radical herbalist, really involved in healing everybody, and a tireless advocate for global human rights. She was out on all the protests, the pickets, the court inquest. She was everywhere, even till the end.
So I just want to say we will continue to hold you in our hearts, honor your legacy, and we salute you, Claudia Manchanda. Big up, Claudia. Rest in power. Cool. I just wanted to also take a few moments to honor the women who may not get enduring mainstream attention. Beginning with Agnes Tirop, a Kenyan athlete who was stabbed to death by her husband, aged 25 in 2021. Then there's Rebecca Cheptegei, a Ugandan Olympic athlete who was set alight and killed by her partner, aged 33 in 2024. Blessing Olusegun, a 21-year-old business student and carer who was found mysteriously drowned on a Sussex beach in 2020. Yet due to racism and other factors, police refused to conduct any further investigations. Then there's Giselle Pellicot, a 17-year-old French woman who was drugged and raped by her husband and 74 other men while she was unconscious. She bravely waived her right to anonymity, and she said, "I think of all the other victims whose stories remain untold. We share the same fight." And last but not least, I want to pay tribute to a young Indigenous teenager, Emily Pike, who was found dismembered last month in Arizona. She was a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe and the latest victim in an ongoing epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in North America and Canada. Indigenous women face murder rates 10 times higher than national average, which is absurd because they make up 2% of the population. And murders on Native American reservations not only don't result in convictions, they often are never reported or logged in the first place. The Bureau of Indian Affairs estimates there are 4,200 Indigenous missing and murdered women cases that still remain unsolved. So we stand in solidarity today with all these women, past, present and future. Follow the hashtag #NoMoreStolenSisters. And I just want to close with a quote from Audre Lorde, the renowned African American writer, poet, professor, intersectional feminist and civil rights activist, who said, "I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own." Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for reminding us and for bringing their memories here to us. All of the sisters that are presente, those that we know the names of, and the millions that we don't.
Hello everyone, my name is Claire, and for International Women's Day I want to tell you about the bravest woman I know, who just happens to be my daughter. My daughter Zoe Rogers turned 21 in October in prison. She has been in prison for 6 months. By the time her trial comes round, she will have been in prison for 50 months. Why is she in prison? Well, there's two things I need to tell you about. You need to know about what kind of person Zoe is, and then you need to know what kind of government we have in this country, and all will become clear. So what kind of person is Zoe? Zoe is very, very shy. She's quite anxious, but she has a social justice streak a mile wide. It's her defining quality. And like so many of us, from October 2023, she was forced to watch a genocide live streamed on social media. And like so many people, she felt she could not act. So she went on all the marches. She made all the placards. She brought all of her friends. And after a few months of this, she began to feel seriously disillusioned at the lack of response and action from our government in the face of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people taking to our streets saying, "Stop arming Israel," and doing nothing.
Yes.
She at that time came across the concept of direct action, and she told me, "Mum, this is the way to go. This is the only thing that's going to make a difference. We have to take our struggle to the factories that are making these diabolical weapons in our country, to Elbit Systems, which, by the way, is Israel's largest weapons manufacturer, with with sites, shut it down, yes, with sites all over this country. Who knew? I didn't know this. And she said the way to do this is to take direct action, take the struggle directly to then stop the weapons at their source, since the government won't do it for us. So she, without my knowledge, she joined Palestine Action. What she did was she joined one of the most significant actions that Palestine Action has ever done. So on the 6th of August, they got inside Elbit's probably most expensive, most secure research and development hub in Elbit, in Filton, Bristol. Woo! Woo! 6 of them got inside, and there inside they discovered the quadcopter drones that had been plaguing the people of Gaza, the exact same model that we've seen. And we know that what these drones do is after a bomb has landed, the quadcopter drones come in and they mop up the survivors, including children, shooting them with deadly pellets.
Shame! Fascist!
Terrorist Israel!
With their crowbars and their sledgehammers, they were able to destroy a number of these drones. Causing an estimated over £1 million in damages. Now let me tell you what you need to know about our government, and none of this will come as a surprise to you. We know that through Freedom of Information Act requests that there was influence from the Israeli ambassador and from the the CEO of Elbit Systems in the UK. They've gone to the, yeah, that's arrested. They've gone to the, there's some people here who could do something about this.
Do your job! Arrest them!
Great venue. They went to put pressure. A couple of years ago, they went to our government and said, stop Palestine Action. And we know that the government's very happy to oblige. So when this action took place in Filton, Bristol, the government response was brutal and it was unprecedented. And what they did was they unleashed counter-terror powers against these activists. What did that mean? That meant that the 6 who were arrested on site and held in a police station in Bristol were hauled into a courtroom at midnight and re-arrested under the Terrorism Act. They were kept in solitary confinement for 6 days. They were interrogated day and night. And they were completely incommunicado. They were not allowed to make that single vital phone call to a loved one to tell their loved ones where the heck they were. They were disappeared by the state. This also meant that a further 12 people who were rounded up around the country in 2 further waves of arrests were arrested violently by counter-terrorism police.
Shame!
We are talking about up to 30 officers, nighttime raids, smashing down front doors, breaking windows, arresting the occupants, sometimes at gunpoint. One man had 4 guns pointed at his head. They destroyed and seized property that was needed for the family's livelihoods. They handcuffed teenage family members. They evicted families from their homes so they could conduct searches of the properties later.
Shame!
And I'm happy to say, for what it's worth, the UN has written a report criticising the government for this abuse of counter-terror powers. So I just want to say very quickly, have I got time to read a poem?
Yes, please.
Go for it.
Yes.
I've cut my time for you.
Thank you. I just want to say, who are the criminals here?
Yes.
Who are the terrorists here? Is it the brave actionists who literally sacrificed their liberty and threw themselves, knowing what the consequences would be, into the cogs of Keir Starmer's war machine? Are they the criminals?
No!
Or is it our government who's literally breaking its own laws by sending arms to Israel?
Yes!
Laws that prevent us from sending arms to countries that commit human rights abuses.
The terrorists are there.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I would say that it was the actionists that upheld international law, while our government are war criminals.
Yes.
So I'm going to wrap up now by reading a poem that I've written, and I wrote this poem about shame, because there is a sense of shame when your home is searched, as mine was, by 12 counter-terrorist police, And all the neighbours could see the police coming in and out of my home with their little blue gloves on. And there is a sense of shame in saying my daughter is in prison, and it's hard for that shame not to cling to you, but I would suggest that the shame does not belong to us and to my daughter and to the brave activists, that it belongs quite somewhere else. So this is my poem. It's called 6 Months. It's 6 months now my daughter's been in jail for smashing weapons Stalin planned to send to Israel, criminally damaging the profits of a war from hell. She's paying for it now, and so am I, with grief that isn't easy to describe. To see her called a criminal, a terrorist in all but name, to see how daily prison life has one intent, to pile on shame. I wonder what the neighbours thought of all those counter-terrorist police who came and went that day into my home. I now pity the poor souls who used to sit in stocks, still so well preserved, on our very Middle England village green. But the tree outside my window calls to me at morning prayers, showing me its way of stretching high, how the sturdy branches lift the little twigs up to the sky. And I know that they're all mothers, showing off their kids with tenderness and pride. So I have this to say to humiliation and to shame: do not linger here. Go and cling to someone else, to those who actually committed crimes. Cling to them, expose their lies, their greedy plans to make a killing from a genocide. I'll dry my eyes, I'll turn to everyone and say, I am proud of her. I'll lift her name up to the sun. I am proud of my brave daughter, and I'm proud of what she's done. One more quick thing to say. I've got some leaflets to hand around. I'd really love you to scan that leaflet with your phone and sign the petition to free the Filton 18. Yeah. Free the Filton 18! Free Palestine!
A statement from some sisters in Palestine, and we're just delighted to have this on our picket tonight.
Can I just come over there? From a group of Palestinian women, warm greetings to you all. We begin by expressing our deep appreciation for you and our gratitude for the opportunity to be here among you, carrying a message from the heart of Palestine, a land that suffers, endures, and believes in justice and freedom. Our message transcends walls and barbed wires to reach you, affirming that our struggles are interconnected. Just as women around the world wage discrimination, underrepresentation in leadership, societal violence, sexual harassment, and economic hardship, Palestinian women endure an even greater burden. Living under occupation subjects them to compounded violence, making their reality even harsher. The reality of Palestinian women: military checkpoints and daily humiliation. Women, especially elderly, pregnant and sick, are forced to wait for hours at military checkpoints. Often they must take dangerous alternative routes, increasing their suffering. Night raids by occupation forces. Soldiers storm homes in the middle of the night, arresting husbands and sons, leaving women alone with their children to face fear and devastation. Settler violence. Women living near settlements endure constant attacks, destruction of their crops, and the burning of olive trees, which are their main source of livelihood. Arrests and violations in prisons. Female prisoners face harassment, sleep deprivation, denial of medical care, and solitary confinement for prolonged periods, sometimes over 150 days. By the end of 2024, there are approximately 100 Palestinian female prisoners, most held under administrative detention without formal charges. Lack of healthcare services. In rural areas, women struggle with inadequate health care and are forced to cross military checkpoints to reach hospitals, sometimes giving birth at these barriers. Economic crisis. Many women have lost their jobs due to movement restrictions, worsening the financial situation of their families. Destruction and forced displacement, as seen in Gaza. Forced displacement is now happening in refugee camps like Jenin, Tul Karem and Al Farah. The image of a Palestinian mother carrying remnants of food in one hand while holding her children close in the other, shielding them from bullets, remains a painful reality. Our message to you, we call upon you to, number one, take responsibility as active feminist organisations by amplifying our voices and advocating to end violence and occupation. Number two, exchange knowledge and expertise to raise awareness of international laws related to women's rights. Number three, strengthen solidarity with the Palestinian people and pressure governments to enforce international laws guaranteeing our right to freedom and self-determination. Yes. Number four, engage in collective struggle to implement international resolutions protecting women's rights. Build joint projects that empower Palestinian women to take their rightful role in society. We are not just numbers. We are strong women.
Yes.
Despite these hardships, we affirm that this reality is not our destiny. We are not mere statistics in records, not just fleeting news headlines. We are women with the power to create change, build a just society, uphold human values, and defend our rights and achievements. We are not half of society. We are the whole society. With our voice and unwavering will, we will continue our struggle. Hope remains strong and the future is bright. With our love and appreciation to you all. Thank
Thank you very much, Shoda. That was a hard read. But thank you for doing that. And I think we should reiterate that we will support every single one of the demands that the sisters have made to us, and that we will also insist that the men do the same, because we need you guys to be with us and on our side. And we know many of you are. We know many of you are. Okay. I wish all of them. There's a few the other side of the tree. Okay, I'd like next to play a recording that another extraordinary mother made about her daughter. I think we've heard how much we are being criminalized for taking action against a genocide. We're also being criminalized for taking action against climate crisis. Yes. And the sister who is in prison at the moment, well, in fact has been convicted, we're going to hear from her mother just now. She recorded this for us.
Today, International Women's Day 2025, there are 26 political prisoners in jail in Britain. One of them is my daughter, Indigo Rumbelow. She has been held in prison for 213 days. After 6 months of remand, she has been found guilty of conspiracy to cause nuisance. Her crime? To demand the government stop all new oil and gas in order to protect the environment and to keep us safe from imminent ecological collapse. You did the right thing, Indigo. You did what I did not. You acted on your beliefs, and I, aware of ecocide and climate disaster, did not. In the face of the bullish and ignorant mainstream media, the hypocrisy of the government, and the failures of the legal system, you rose up and have been counted. Indigo, you stood to protect this beautiful, dying planet. Yes, your friends and family miss you very much, but we are proud, so very proud of you. In the UK, extraordinary measures have been taken that breach the most basic principles of justice. The United Nations has called out the government of the UK for violating international law. Indigo must wait 3 more months till she is sentenced. Sentenced to prison for an act of love.
I've written down what I wanted to say today. Since we're running out of time, I'm going to try my best to make it.
But if you can...
Okay, sure. No problem. Women of the world, men of the world, I salute you all in the name of the Congolese women. I'll start with the African proverb. It says this: there is so many things that cries in the river. There is only people that lives very close to the river bank, can identify the real cry of a crocodile. So it goes like this. Now, today I would like to shed light on the role of the women of Democratic Republic of the Congo, a country that is experiencing tremendous challenges, but also has a women who demonstrate the strength, resilience, and incredible capacity for leadership. The Democratic of Congo, located in Central Africa, for those of you who doesn't know, is a country rich in the mineral resources and the culture, but is facing prolonged conflict and economical instability. Despite those hardships, the women of the Congo have remained at the forefront of social changes, advocating for peace, equality, and economical development. The challenge faced by women of Democratic of Congo. Women in the Congo face numerous challenges, most of which stem from years of ongoing conflict, gender identity, gender inequality, and poverty. The country has been plagued by the war, especially in the eastern part of the Congo, where armed groups and militias have caused widespread displacement and violence. Sexual violence, one of the most several issues for women in the DR Congo is a sexual violence. So the Congo has been described as the rape country of the world. So you can just imagine that. With the women often be a victim of sexual violence during armed conflict. Many women have been raped with extreme brutality, tortured, and abdicated, which has left them physically and emotionally affected. Economy of the DR Congo is facing significant barrier in accessing education and economic opportunities. So while there has been progress, a large percentage of girls do not complete primary school, and the women often struggle to access formal employment or leadership roles. Healthcare is not really good. What happens when women they're going to? There's a really higher mortality higher mortality due to the insufficiency of medical care during childbirth. So as a result, a lot of women or baby, they also die. Now, I'll talk about the role of the women on a society. Despite the challenge, women in DR Congo continue to be an integral part of our communities. In both, in the urban and the rural area, women are the heart of the household and the economy.
Yes.
Thank you. We know that, all of us, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're very good. We're doing very well. So I would like to say this: despite everything is happening, the women of the Democratic of Congo face immense challenges. We have been the symbols of us. We symbolize the strength, resiliency, and hope, both nationally and internationally. From the role of the communities, leaders, the activists, and the contribution of the economy and the society, Congolese women are we are not quiet. We'd like to be heard. So the effort to improve, we're making our effort to improve life within our community, and I'm sure together we can do it. Okay. 1, we are the women. 2, we got this silence. 3, such a very loud.
Hi everyone, I'm from Winvisible, Women with Visible and Invisible Disabilities. I'm going to introduce a recorded message from my colleague Kelechi, but before that I just wanted to say a bit about the Keir Starmer military budget. Some months ago he went to Cyprus, where the Cypriot people have to suffer a UK military base, and he was congratulating the troops there that the security of the world depends on them, and that's the base from which the RAF conducts surveillance over Palestine to support the Israeli military, and that is where our tax money is going, among other things. And now they say now that they need to basically gear up for permanent war, restock everything, and they're going to have to make welfare cuts to pay for it. And I just wanted to say, they're saying there's been a surge in claiming of disability benefits. That is not exactly true. They forgot that there was a pandemic and there's lots of people with post-COVID. That's number 1. Number 2 is because they switched how they're counting, like now, because of universal credit, they count everyone in the household as being so-called economically inactive. Instead of one claimant, they're counting everyone in a whole household, which is more people, which is basically the wrong statistics. And also they raised women's retirement age, which means that women who are worn out after a lifetime of unwaged and waged work are counted as off sick rather than retired. So don't believe the hype, everyone. So I'm now going to introduce a recorded message from my dear colleague Kelechi. She's going to introduce herself on the message.
I'm from Winvisible, Women with Visible and Invisible Disabilities. I am an immigrant and queer woman. My name is Kelechi Chioba. I fled violence and I had to fight for the right to stay in the UK. Now I work with Winvisible to help women win our benefits and support, and to challenge discrimination, which is rife. We feel it's crucial to support Palestinian people. Our hearts are with them, starting with the children and the women working tirelessly every day to care and protect their loved ones. Over 60,000 people have been killed in Gaza. The number of people with disability has increased, listen to this, from 68,000 before 7th of October to 98,000. About 1/3 of these numbers are children. There are over 15,000 amputees. Many are children. At a recent Palestinian event on disability and rehabilitation, disabled people spoke of the struggle to survive. They described living in terror of being killed by bombing, unable to sleep due to fear of suffocation and walls collapsing on them, because tens of thousands of people have been crushed to death under rubble. They fear being abandoned by families, members, caring for them. It is deep-seated fear, psychological torture from existing in war. Many people with disabilities cannot flee and are alone after their families were killed. People are dying, not only from bombing, but lack of food, clean water, and health care. Most hospital and rehab centers have been destroyed. There's no access to essential medicines. While fleeing, many have had to abandon their wheelchairs, crutches, and other special equipment, living trapped in tents, either boiling hot or freezing cold. They suffer particularly in the Israeli-imposed famine, unable to get food, water, or to move around over rubble, as there's no level ground. It is horrifying what people with disabilities have to go through, as Western governments are silent or collaborate with the destruction. Coping with disability and ill health is hard work anywhere, and much more so when people are trapped in war zones. This government is planning to make sweeping cuts to our disability benefits, to increase the military budget for bombs, environmental destruction, and to fund RAF surveillance over Palestinians. We say welfare, not warfare. Invest in caring, not killing. We call for a care income for all the invisible work we do here and in Palestine. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's great to have messages. Really powerful stuff. Well done, Kalechi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's hard to follow the ladies and the recordings we've just heard, but I'm going to try. Solidarity, of course, to all women, all oppressed women everywhere in the world. And let's hope for miracles, but let's also carry on fighting. Yes. Before, I would like today to talk about some miracles and some contradictions, but also I would like to just go back to some statistics. And I'm going to introduce myself again in case some people who are around here have not met me yet. I am Agnes Kori, Hungarian, Jewish, Holocaust child survivor, and also a Holocaust researcher. So when there is a genocide, I can recognize it.
Yes.
So I just like to start with a little miracle, which is really statistics. Some of you know that on the 27th of December, Hanukkah evening, I made a short, impromptu, unprepared speech saying that this is Hanukkah, let's see the light, let's hope for miracles. Well, I don't have a mobile phone, I'm not on social media, but that little speech of mine, up to date, today, was seen by 847,000. Can I please finish? 847,494 people. A month later, 27th of January, Holocaust Memorial Day, in front of the Polish embassy, I also made a speech, and I suggested that the best place for Netanyahu would be prison. Now, that speech, well, I was encouraging Poland to arrest Netanyahu if he turns up in Poland. So that speech of mine, up to date, was seen by 410,792 people. So it's not bad for someone who is not on social media. Now, I'm actually here partly because of Women's Day, but also because I'm here to protest against not being able to protest in Swiss Cottage. One of the reasons which were given by some Jewish residents that it was too close to 3 synagogues. Well, I rechecked, and one of them, because I do go to synagogues anyway, because I am Jewish, so one of them meant 2 stops on bus 268 from Swiss Cottage. I don't want to mention that synagogue, but yeah, and the other one was 2 stops on the C11 bus. The third one I didn't try because I haven't been there before. I didn't know where it was, and I've got lots to do. But the truth is that none of those synagogues are anywhere near now. So that's a sad fact. However, there's a little bit of miracle because there were some articles in the Jewish Chronicle against our protests, and the Jewish Chronicle usually takes, well, almost always, or always takes the line of the Board of Deputies, the Chief Rabbi, Sir Keir Starmer, and that sort of thing. But I keep going to outside our books. I am a bit naive, I'm trying to convince people, I argue and so on. So I did write a letter to the Jewish Chronicle against this ban of protest, and I didn't think it would ever see the light of day. But guess what? They published it. They published it without altering a single word of mine. And I'm on the top of the page, top of the letter page, and afterwards come 4 other letters which have a very, very different view. But a lot of people must have read this because it was on the top of the page. So it's a little bit of a miracle, and I just hope that it will continue. Now, there's some contrast which I like to, the contradiction which I like to mention. For instance, the lady before me mentioned Starmer and the defense budget. Well, it's called defense. I don't think it's defense. It's war machine budget. And I think they should be honest about it. I have my own view about the Ukrainians and Russians and so on. I don't feel threatened by them. I think that this warmongering is totally unacceptable, and it has nothing to do with defense. It's a war machine.
Yes.
Do I have another minute or 2? Okay, 1 minute. So just one more contradiction then. I regularly write to my MP with my views, Tulip Siddiq. She's in Swiss Cottage. She responds with the most wonderful letters. I had the last one this week, saying that me and my Labour colleagues and David Lammy, we do everything to stop this, that, whatnot. And I don't have to tell you what the contradiction is. So thank you very much for your attention.
Everyone. Yeah, so I'm really honoured to be here.
here today, tomorrow International Women's Day, and I want to emphasize, thank you, I want to emphasize the importance of feminism to our politics. But I want to start with an email that was sent today by Labour Friends of Israel. Don't get worried, I hate Israel and the Labour Party, but it's useful to see what they're up to, so I do recommend being on their mailing list. They sent out a special newsletter today for International Women's Day. It's quite a read, but it's a disgusting read, because not once do they mention the word Palestine or Palestinian at all. They talk about being proudly Zionist, and the only times they speak about anyone to do with Palestine is when they talk about their own captives. And it's surreal to see this, because they put out these pieces as though they're feminist or they're about women, but they're just genocidal pieces. This is just a genocidal newsletter. By erasing the victims of their own attacks, they make Israel only the victim. And particularly, they of course repeat the atrocity propaganda and lies that have justified Israel's genocide. Meanwhile, they propagate again that Israel is the most feminist place in the world. We already know it's hilarious to call settler colonialism, occupation and genocide feminist, but have they seen their own statistics of sexual assault within their occupation forces? Or how they proudly welcome some of the most famous sexual predators in the world, including Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein? Now, the women of Gaza have faced extreme reproductive violence from US, Israeli and UK attacks. Miscarriage increased by 300%, and Israel systematically denies any reproductive rights for Palestinian women, including preventing birth, which is a tactic of genocide that they've done repeatedly. But we're not only in solidarity with Palestinian women because they're women. We're in solidarity with them because they have been made victims of imperialism and colonialism. And Palestinian men, as well, have been dehumanized to such lengths that they've been made killable. They've been denied any humanity and been denied the idea that they have a worthy of life. So when we see images of released Palestinian hostages who are frail and malnourished, many with broken bones, with scars from acid attacks, some missing limbs and eyes, there is total silence from mainstream media, because their humanity has been stripped from them, and they're not even worthy of an article on the 3rd or 4th page of a newspaper. And that's how this live stream genocide has been justified. So I want to express my solidarity for you all being here, despite the attacks from the police and Zionists, hardly distinguishable. And you've refused to back down from protesting against this genocide. And you've shown the Palestinian people that they will never walk alone. And the reason, of course, they want to suppress protest is because we're protesting against them as much as we are Israel. The UK has sent at least 450 spy planes over Gaza. Shame. Information they are giving Israel to target their attacks. And since the ceasefire, these flights have not stopped. Not only spy flights, but military cargo flights too have been sent from the RAF bases in Cyprus to Israel. Many of this is US weaponry, German weaponry, and British weaponry. The proximity of Cyprus and the bases that Britain hold to Gaza is what makes this so important for them. It's a 40-minute flight. And so this element of Britain's role in the genocide has not been known. And it's by design, of course. The media won't report on it, and neither will any politicians. So we have a campaign against it that launched last week, and we'll be protesting on Sunday at 1:30 at the Ministry of Defence, very close by. And simultaneously, comrades in Cyprus will be protesting at the British base there, RAF Akrotiri. So if you can make it, please come along and please share it. I'll have some leaflets to distribute. Because just like this, we have to keep protesting. We have to come back into the center of power. Being here is amazing visually as well, but it's so important for us to draw again and again the link between Britain and genocide. It's not only that Britain is giving every bit of support they can, they are also participating and providing information that Israel uses. And if they didn't provide it, then Israel would not have been able to commit 16 months of genocide and 76 years of occupation. So thank you all for being here. Free Palestine!
Including sex workers. We've had decades fighting for an end to police, rape and racism. In the 1980s, we supported Jackie Barkley, a young black woman raped in a Manchester police cell. She was arrested and we gave evidence at her trial. A huge movement grew. Hundreds of mainly black people picketed and packed the court, and we picketed the High Court in London. She was found guilty of wasting police time, but not jailed, because she had so much support. We spoke about Jackie Barkley's struggle last October when women protested recent rapes at Manchester Police Station. Recent convictions of armed officers Wayne Couzens and David Carrick for murder, rape and torture have meant even state bodies and mainstream media had to acknowledge it. Obviously today there's a mass movement against police impunity for racism, rape and homophobic crimes. We've exposed the police murders, rapes, domestic violence, strip searching of women and children, particularly working class children of colour, and the depravity of police sharing selfies near murdered black women's bodies. Dozens are finally going to prison. Even police women and wives of police have been emboldened to speak out in their hundreds about police domestic and other violence they've suffered. Police don't prioritise our protection, starting with those at senior levels. It's not a mistake, lack of resources or training, that results in 2 women a week being murdered by a partner or ex-partner, usually after asking police for protection. The 900 victims a year of domestic abuse taking their own lives, and the only 1% of rapes that reach conviction. Women are still being accused of lying and even prosecuted for it. We're campaigning to end police strip search of children at school, 650 in 2 years.
Shame! Shame!
Without their parents even being told.
Rapists!
Women are denied financial and other support to escape violent abusers. Social services often back violent men, removing children from their loving mothers and placing them with violent fathers or into care, where many suffer worse abuse. We're exposing police corruption, collusion and cover-up of the widespread abuse of children in every institution. Women soldiers have asked us for our help to fight for legal protection, an end to in-house investigation. Jaisley Beck's recent suicide inquest was well publicised and prompted 1,000 army women to speak out about their own sexual abuse from colleagues. We demand that police officers and soldiers who commit rape are sacked and prosecuted. We also demand an end to police abusing their powers against protesters. Whether we are protesting rape, racism, police illegality and poverty, or for the environment or against genocides in Gaza, Lebanon, Sudan and elsewhere, and thank you to all the sisters who've spoken about their struggles in their countries. We have to support the struggles of women and children in Gaza, where sexual violence is particularly hidden. Against violence, against poverty, against police abuse and racism, together we can win.
I'm from the All African Women. I'm from Biafra, the eastern part of Nigeria. My parents grew during the genocide over 50 years ago, when the Nigerian government went to war with Biafra. It was a genocide and not a war. My people were killed. My people were marginalized. And Britain took the side of the Nigerian government, arming and supplying them with arms and ammunition, bombing the Biafra land. The Nigerian army grew from 7,000 to 200,000 during this time. They blocked the borders for food and other good things for my people. There is no food coming in the land. They bombed and destroyed the villages. No one goes to the farm. Over 2 million Biafra died from this starvation. Starvation, mainly women and children suffered it. It was called the first televised genocide in the world. People were forced into camps in conditions similar to the Nazi Holocaust. In some families, only one person survived to tell the story of where we are up till now. Our experiences tells us we must stand with the Palestinians. We must stand for freedom, especially the genocide against the women and the children. The trauma and discrimination that my land Biafra went through. The women are afraid to go to their farmland because of the attack from the Boko Haram, the Fulani headsmen that were attacking my people. The genocide was real and was big, and nobody is talking about it. It's still going on up till today. The women are being killed. The pregnant ones are being murdered. Their belly has been cut open, and the babies are crushed out just like that on the streets. And nobody is saying anything. Our land is being invaded by the Nigerian government, the armies. They killed my people. They killed my people, and the police are there. They sent the attack. Nothing is done. Why my people are being killed and held to ransom? Farmers are killed. The women and the children, they are the ones that are most affected in this genocide. We want freedom, a sovereign state, so we are not marginalized. Britain should be held accountable. They divided the country, setting people against each other. The reconciliation, rehabilitation, restitution that they promised the people of Biafra, we are not done. up to this time. Our homes are being broken into. Young men, young women, and children are being killed. Before the war, we lived together. But many of us today, the Biafran people, we are forced to leave our land. We are forced to leave our land to go to unknown places all over the world. The history is not taught in school. They have been hidden. And what am I saying today? Our experience, as I said, have told us that we must stand for the people of Palestine. We must stand, especially the women and the children. Free Palestine! I have a sister from the US Embassy camp. Very important that we hear from you.
The BBC documentary Gaza How to Survive a War Zone that's been censored, like we are all censored, like we are all silenced, like they've tried to silence IJAN, and they've tried to silence IJAN, and what's happened? Look at our numbers. We'll come back. We'll come back in our numbers louder than ever before. We will not be silenced, we will not rest, we will not go anywhere. Our camp is sustained by so many amazing souls, majority of which are women. So well done.
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you everyone who's come tonight. This is a fantastic turnout. Thank you to the sisters who spoke so movingly. We need you, we need you. I also wanted to say that, first of all, that Haiti was the first to end slavery back in 1804. And Haiti has been a beacon of hope for everybody who wants justice. But they have been absolutely harassed and devastated by the U.S., which hates the fact that they were first to end slavery. They overthrew slavery before the U.S. did it. They fought off Napoleon's army and 2 other armies of the day, including the British Army. They stopped slave ships and freed people on board. And they also gave money to Simon Bolivar and ships. And they said, all we want in return is for you to free Latin America. So they did great things, but like Palestine, Haiti is often neglected, too often neglected, but we're changing that. And that's why we wanted to mention Haiti tonight. At this moment, people have been fighting and fighting for independent elections. But what happens is the U.S. corrupts, destroys, and undermines, and they put their own puppets in charge. So they're right at this moment, people are on the streets in Haiti. The women have been particularly targeted, especially in the poor city areas. So we just wanted to mention that, and also to say mention the sisters in Thailand. The Women's Human Rights Defenders Network has brought together women from the inner city and the land. They're fighting against land theft, they're fighting against the toxic waste, and they're fighting against gold mining, the destruction of their mountains and rivers, and they're doing great work. At this moment, they're fighting to bring the care income resolution in their parliament. They invited us last year and this year, and our minds were blown because they're so far ahead. And so we need our sisters in the global south, in Thailand, in Haiti, and Burma, around the world to give us strength. And we don't need the superficial feminism, we need the grassroots feminism. And we have to make that our job on International Women's Day. It's not about culture, and it's not about the thin feminism, it's the deep feminism that we've heard about, including from our sisters on the West Bank in Palestine. Okay, so thank you again for letting me jump in. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for the men who turned out to support. We need you ongoing. And thank you everybody. Thank you all of you. And we have to always thank the International Jewish Anti-Zionists for keeping this picket going.
We're not allowed to be next to the ambassador. They move us to closer to Swiss Cottage.
And then they say, oh no, you can't be in Swiss Cottage because it's a Jewish neighborhood. They know we are protesting against the ambassador. The ambassador, this is a very old, as you can see, few months old poster that I made. The ambassador of Nazi Israel. You can see it was just over a year, so that was a few months ago when I did this poster, but nothing changed. She is still promoting genocide. She is, and she should be arrested, she should be investigated, she should be expelled from the UK. So, I made a poster for today. Oh, thank you. Ambassador Tzipi Hoteveli, as many of you would know, she actually spread the lie, the fabricated lie, the Palestinian were raping Israeli women, and that lie was for one reason, is to mobilize for the genocide. And that's what she is about. She is about genocide. And now I just want to finish with a message to all the women on International Women's Day, whatever feminism you claim to be. If you don't support the Palestinian, if you claim that you're against violence against women and say nothing about the rape of Palestinian women by Israel, the torture of Palestinian women, the amputation, the denial of medication for pregnant women who have to go through C-section with no anesthetic. If you claim that you're feminist and you say nothing about the women who've been maimed, been annihilated, women who try to defend their children are being killed. If you say nothing, you're not feminist. Shut up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. Wrapping us up.
Justice for Palestine! Justice for Palestine! Justice for Palestine! Justice for Palestine! Freedom for Palestine! Freedom for Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Dino Billion! Dino Billion!
Do not talk to the Zionists. Do not talk.